Hi everyone, welcome back. Now today I'm going to be making a dish called Karella Aloo, and it requires no meat at all. The main ingredient for this is the Karella. If you're in the Caribbean, these vegetables grow really well because of the hot climate, and actually they are very good for you. So if you can find them, I've seen them in Speightstown. That's where I cooked it previously, but you can find these anywhere, and you can grow them, which is even better because there are some great benefits to this vegetable. Now, it is said to have lots of iron, rich in iron, and it aids in maintaining your blood sugar levels, as well as lowering your cholesterol. They say that this is also a good boost for the immune system, which right now we all are in need of. Another benefit, they said, is that it is good for our eyes. So people who suffer from cataract, this is actually a great veg to get used to. I'm going to be honest, it's quite bitter. So if you've had it before, you will know what I'm talking about. It's quite bitter, but if you can get used to it, give it a go. So in the recipe today, there's 2 potatoes here. I'll get them over there to show you. You've got your 2 potatoes, 2 medium-sized potatoes, which I have cut, diced about that size. The Karella, what I've done is I have cut this. I'm going to show you in a minute. I've cut it in half and I've scooped out the entire middle with a spoon. So there you go. I have cut it in half and I've scooped that out, and then I diced it about that size and put it in the bowl with 1 tablespoon of salt. And I kept turning it. I've left that for about an hour soaking because the salt brings out some of the bitterness. You see? And I'm going to rinse that in a minute, and I'm going to dab it and squeeze out all of the water and get rid of some of the bitterness, more of the bitterness. I should have told you before as well that it's actually the bad cholesterol, because we've got bad and we've got good cholesterol. So this gets rid of your bad cholesterol. I've got 2 tomatoes, which I've diced up. I took the skin off because that's what I like. If you don't want to take the skin off, please don't. 3 cloves of garlic, grated that. If you want to do the garlic in the bottle, you can buy that as well. 2 red onions, nice red onions, and red-eyed chili, 1 large or 2 medium, and I've got a good handful of coriander, fresh coriander. I'm going to be putting in cumin. I'm going to be putting in coriander, the ground one as well as the fresh one, and some turmeric. It's also really good benefit for us, for our health. Here we go. I have 1 tablespoon of that turmeric, 1 teaspoon of the coriander, and 2 teaspoons of the cumin, because I like the flavor to come out more from the cumin, and also a half teaspoon of salt. So remember that. To accompany my dish, I am going to be making some naan bread, as we would say. Here's one I did earlier. I will show you that in a minute so that you can see from start to finish how I made that. I left that for 2 hours just to get it to rise a bit. Okay, so what I've done is I have washed the salt off about 3 times, and then to get even more of the bitterness off, you squeeze it out as dry as you can. Squeeze it and pop it in another bowl. So I'm going to do that with all of the Karella. In a pan, I've placed 3 tablespoons of, can you see this? It's rapeseed oil, not olive oil that I'm normally used to, because this, it has a lighter flavor. So I'm using that. I've heated the oil up, and I'm got the Karella or bitter gourd, because there are different names for this, and I'm going to put it straight into the hot oil and fry it off. Give that a good up. I'll get back to you. So it's 5 minutes later, and my Karella been frying off, and I'm going to take them out, get them drain off a little bit, and then place them there. Okay, I'll let you see what happens next. So the oil is left over, and I'm now going to add my red onions, so that oil that was left over from the Karella, and my diced potatoes. So that's in there, and that is going to cook and sweat down. So I let the Karella cook for about 5 minutes actually. Whilst that's sweating down, I'm going to add my chilli, and I'm going to keep stirring. The aim is to get the potatoes to sweat down and cook off as well. I'm going to cover that for a bit. My potatoes are now 3/4 finished, so I'm going to add in all of those spices that you heard me talk about earlier. So they're going to go in. I'm going to give those a good old stir, and I'm going to add also my garlic. As I said, you can get bottled garlic if you so wish. So I'm going to keep stirring that before I add the tomatoes, and then I'm going to leave it cook down. So now I'm going to add my tomatoes in there, and that's going to bring some liquid into there, some juices. At this time, I'm not going to add all of it because some of it will be for my garnish. I'm going to add some of my fresh coriander. I just love fresh coriander. It's not everybody's taste. I keep saying this is a one-person show. I'm holding a camera, and I'm also sorting this out. Please bear with me. Yeah, so I'm going to keep doing that, and I'll get back to you. And right now I've added the Karella back to that dish. I've moved it over. I'm going to turn it down to the lowest heat, and I'm going to let it sweat and cook for the remainder of the time. So before I show you the whole process, this is the naan that I prepared earlier. It's all nice and squidgy. I'm going to take it out, and for me this is going to make two naan bread. So I'm going to actually cut it in half, so you can do that. Then I'm going to make it into a ball, and I'm going to put it back into the fridge for at least an hour or two. I'm going to quickly talk you through the naan bread. I've done it before, so this is just for you to get the idea. So I've got 1 cup of flour. I put the flour in here. Then I had half teaspoon of baking powder. I put that in there. I'm also going to put a quarter, I've done it already, a quarter teaspoon of salt. Okay, just a quarter teaspoon of that salt, not a lot, just judging. And I don't know if you've ever seen these before, but they're called nigella seeds. You don't have to put it, but it's what gives the naan bread the authentic taste. So I'm going to add those, and then I give it a nice mix. So that's step 1. Now step 2 is your wet mix. So I've got 50 ml milk. You can get full fat, semi-skim, whatever. For this, I've got a small egg. As you can see, sometimes you can go into the supermarket and you can find eggs of different sizes. So I always buy these eggs because I find that they come in different sizes. So I'm going to take the smallest one and I'm going to break it and add it to that milk. Next, I'm going to add half tablespoon of caster sugar, and finally, here you go, half tablespoon of oil. You can use vegetable oil. I've used grapeseed oil, and you're going to mix it, try to get the sugar to dissolve, and leave that for about 10 minutes. So I let that sit for about 15 minutes, making sure that all the sugar was dissolved, and then you're going to add that wet to the dry mixture, and you're going to mix that really, really well. Mix it really well until it looks like the one that I showed you earlier. And previously you had seen the one that I had made earlier. This is the one I had made. You take it out. There is a pan with about a teaspoon of oil. So I just put it in there, swish it around, and then I cover it with a bit of cling, and I leave that for 2 hours. If you feel that your dough is a bit too soft, just add a little bit more flour. Just have a go. I'm about to roll out the naan bread. These were the pieces that I've left in the fridge for 2 hours, the ones that I had prepared earlier. I've got some oil and some water. One side of the naan bread, when I've rolled it out, you'll see in a minute, I'm going to just cover it with my hand with some water, and then I am going to put that side down. So the water side is going to go down, facing down, and the oil is going to be facing upwards. But I'll let you know about that as well. If you wanted to make your naan bread garlic naan bread, what I forgot to say to you earlier was you can grate some garlic and you could have just added that to your milk and egg mixture, and that would be the same thing. So I'm going to roll this out and I'll get back. Okay, so one side, some oil all over it, and then I'm going to flip that over in a minute, and I'm going to put the other side with water. So my roti pan is really nice and hot. Water side, I'm going to put that down, facing downwards, and the oil side is facing upwards, and I'm going to cook that. Just move it over a bit. I'll show you in a minute. And as it cooks, you can see slight bubbles. It's bubbling up really, really nicely. The water would have kept it really moist, so I'm going to turn that over in a bit. Now here's a tricky part, one that you have to be really careful with. You turn that over, be really careful, put that way down to get those nice kind of browning effect. And can I just say, you saw me put that directly onto the heat earlier. Not everyone is comfortable with doing that. So when you're doing your chapatis, if you want to turn them both over and leave them onto the pan, please do that. You don't have to put it directly onto the heat. I was just doing that just to show you can get an effect from, it's kind of like it bubbles up more and you get the little dark pockets, but you don't have to. This one I've done both on the pan side, and it's still quite nice and moist. So So yes, you don't have to do that. Please don't think you have to turn it over onto the stove directly if you don't feel comfortable doing that. So here we go, my Karella Aloo recipe all finished with my naan bread. I'm quite happy with the end result. I've lowered the stove down at the end, so that was a much better result for the second naan. But you know, you have a go, just follow the recipe best as you could. I'm going to plate it up in a minute and let you see how you could dish this up as a meal. So here you go. If you're looking for a meal with no meat, Karella Aloo, some naan bread, a bit of Greek yogurt, and I love that some mango chutney that I've added to the dish. And sorry, here we go. If you wanted to purchase that, you don't have to. But thank you for joining me again, and I hope that you can try this dish out and have a go. Again, I'm going to say anyone can cook. I've tried to make naan bread. I've tried to make this. And I just love having a go in the kitchen. Take care. Bye.